All right, so welcome to the brand new Where Are They Now series for the International Colorism Healing Writing Contest. I am Dr. Sarah L. Webb, the founder of the contest, which started way back in 2014. And our first guest to kick off this series is one of our greatest colorism healing supporters and now a member of the colorism healing family, Bobbi Simmons. Hey, Bobbi.
Good afternoon, Dr. Webb. How are you?
I'm doing great. I am honored that you are taking a time to have this conversation with us. I know.
I am truly honored as well. Thank you so much for doing this, giving me this opportunity.
Well, it's your participation and the participation of other participants that make the contest what it is. And so I want to honor you all by checking in on you, right? I don't want you to just participate in the contest and then I forget about you later, right? I still think about all of you all quite fondly, and I want to know how you've been since our last interaction. Although I will say you haven't gone too far because you've kind of been involved the whole time at
Yes.
your first
Yes.
participation, which has been great.
Yes.
So speaking of that first contest that you participated in, what are
hmm
some fond memories or important lessons that you learned or even favorite moments from your participation in the past?
Well, my participation in both contests really was an awakening for me. It opened my eyes to the reality and prevalence of colorism, not just in our culture, but also the presence of it in cultures around the world. So that was like an awakening for me because, I grew up in the rural South during the 50s, and, most of my childhood, adulthood was spent there. And I saw this behavior, but I had no idea what it was called until a name was placed on it through your contest. I saw um, light skinned family members being treated differently than dark skinned family members. And this was just a norm. It was nothing, anything people felt abnormal. Although to me, something said something's not right about that. But being a part of this, I started to realize that this is what this is called. So the awakening there. Beyond the fact that when you sent me the email telling me that my Black Cotton poem had been selected as the author's pick, I think sitting on the panel was the most memorable part of it for me. Um, Hearing the voice of colorism through others, through other great writers, really once again gave me that awakening that I needed in order to understand it more. So that was the most memorable part of for me, the 2018 book launch.
I have to agree with that. The book launches are always my favorite part of the contest.
Yeah.
You spend months reading people's work and emailing them, and then to actually
hmm
hear their voices, it's a beautiful
Yes,
thing.
it is. It really was.
Yes. So what made you want to participate in that initial contest in the past?
Well, to me, the contest itself, the name Colorism Healing, is very befitting of what the contest stands for. It is a healing process because once you awaken those feelings, those emotions that goes along that you brought in from childhood, you really want to deal with those and get rid of them. So the contest itself is a healing process. It was a healing process for me. And colorism showed me, taught me the essentiality of healing once you've been through a plight with colorism.
Mhm.
So that was my reasoning.
I'm glad to hear that, Bobbi. That is confirmation because that is the goal, the mission, right? Is not only
Yeah.
is awareness, but also to give
hmm
an opportunity to work through those experiences, to process
Yes.
experiences as well.
Yes.
So this year, instead of participating in the contest, you chose to be a judge, and we're really grateful for that. So what made you want to switch roles from being a participant to being a judge this year?
Well, last year I was actually asked to be a judge, but at that point in time, I'd already submitted two of my works, so I couldn't really do it, and I was a little disappointed. But at the end of the day, I felt like this becomes a win-win situation for me being a judge this time around because I get to embrace the writings of others and I get to play a different role in the contest. So I'm really looking forward to doing that.
Yes. Um,
Yeah.
So this is the Where Are They Now series, right? Which implies that time has passed since you first participated. So I'm curious
Yes.
what new developments have been happening for you since 2018.
Oh, wow. Quite a bit. In October of last year, I retired after 25 years of teaching. Yeah, it was kind of bittersweet though, because I really love my students and I love the profession. I have so much respect for it. So it was kind of a bittersweet thing for me. But after 25 years, you realize it's time to start a new chapter in life.
Mhm.
So with that, I started a writing support group, which I plan to make it more visual online. I started it with a bunch of students. It was a support group, a writing support group where we came in, we would do our writings, we would critique each other's writings, and I had artists in the group that won art contests. So I want to do more with that moving forward. The group is called Free to be Pinned Up, and we did a lot of holistic writing in that group. And also in 19, I found a publishing company, and as I said, within March 12th, my first book will be released. So I've had quite a bit of few things going on since we last talked.
Yes, that is huge. First of all,
Yeah.
congratulations on retirement.
Yes.
And thank you for your years of service as a teacher, as a professional educator.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations on the new book, March. Make sure to remind us all when it's
I
officially
will.
in March for sure. And then I love the idea of the writing group, that writing support group that you have.
Yes.
Like you were saying about the contest itself, I definitely believe wholeheartedly in the writing as a tool for healing and mental and emotional support.
Yes.
So one thing I'd really like to dig into is the book, right? I love the fact that people who participate in the contest go on to continue to write. I know other
Hmm.
contestants continue to write and publish their own books as well, which is super exciting. So tell us about
Yes.
your book, what the title of it is, what the content is about.
Well, it's called Birdwild, and I took excerpts from the poem that I submitted, Black Cotton. The theme sort of one of the themes of the book, I'll put it that way, is centered around that particular poem. The whole colorism aspect. I didn't realize then when I was writing it, it was that, but I come to realize that now. Um, it is a novella, which is a long short story or short story, whatever you want to call it. But it is a long story, and it's general. The genre is general African American fiction. Um, the story is written in the era of history when it was deep in the deep South, and segregation was at its worst. And it's a heartwarming story about my character. Her name is Bree Breeze, and she's a free spirit with a lot of energy. But she unveils a lot of things, a lot of family enigmas that sort of rocks to the core of the family. So I don't want to give it away, but it'll make you read it and keep reading until you get to the end of it. So it's a very heartwarming story, but what she reveals in it, I think some people will be able to relate to it, relate to Bree as well as other characters in the book.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am excited about that. You know, the family dynamic, I think, is a key component of colorism for so many people.
Hmm.
And then obviously location, time period, and all the intersections of how that plays out in the story. I'm
Yes.
curious now. You have piqued my interest, so I'm looking.
I guarantee you won't be disappointed.
Okay. Good. Um, So other than the book coming out, I know you kind of touched on, wanting to do more with your writing support group. Do you have other plans? Talk to us who are still looking forward to retirement. What's in store for you?
Well, Birdwild is a series of books. It is one of three books that I'm writing, and I'm sort of halfway through writing the second book in the series. So that's one of the things. And the second book, actually, I decided to go with a different genre. It's more like a thriller, mystery type. So Bree goes into a different phase in this book. So I get to a point where I want to end it this way, and then I'll write it. And then I'll go back and rewrite it. So, so it's just a matter of coming up with that ending that I feel would be befitting of her character. So that is one of the things that I will be doing. And I know we spoke earlier on our first meet and greet. I would really love to do more volunteer work with your colorism healing. So that's one of the things I'm really I'm looking forward to as well. And getting the writing group, more visual online. Those are my three main things to do right now. I don't like to put too much on my plate one time.
I
Yeah.
mean, yes, because you worked, that's what the joy of the time is all about, is
Yes.
being able to size your plate just the way you want it.
Yes.
I am so excited that you are interested in volunteering more with colorism healing. I have big ideas, like big visions, and I'm like, I gotta
Yes.
call in the reinforcements to make sure we can execute on these things.
Right.
I'll
Yes.
stay in touch. Oh, believe me. So a couple of questions in terms of, advice or words of encouragement you would have. First, for people who are aspiring writers, people who feel like they might have a book in them as well. Do you have any
Hmm.
thoughts for people who are thinking about that process or just beginning that process?
Yes. When I meet with the writing group on our initial meeting, I always use Toni Morrison's quote: "If there's a book you want to read, but it has not been written yet, then you need to write it."
Mhm.
So I always tell students or whoever I'm working with, the thing about writing is you have to write what you're passionate about. You can't, because you will become frustrated and overwhelmed if you're trying to write something from a perspective that you have no knowledge of. So write what you're passionate about. Don't try to sound like other writers. Sound like yourself. Be creative. Be unique, original. Always think outside the box. Everybody loves that outside of the box story. If it's just in the box, okay, everybody's done that. Um, be committed. You have to be committed when you're writing. And I know everyone else that's doing this as well know that this is a true commitment. You can't start it, stop. You have to just every day I'm going to, if I don't only write a sentence, I'm going to do that. You have to put the work into it. Put in the research. Research is very, very important because a lot of these publishing companies will they'll sell you oceanfront property in a desert because they want to make money off of you. So you got to put your research in and know what you know and then believe half of what they're telling you. And also patience. You got to be patient because this for me has been 4 to 5 years of doing this. 20 no's. I have a whole folder full of no, your book does not fit our list, or no, or just no responses at all. So that's when patience come in. You got to be patient because it will come.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that last one. Well, a couple of things, you convicted me on some of your the persistence thing about you have to sit down and write. I was like, oh, but I have to do my lesson plan or I have to grade papers. So yeah,
That's why it took me five. That's why it took me 5 years.
okay.
It sounds good, but I'm guilty as well.
Yeah, I feel you. And
Yeah.
I'm the voice of my 2021 for sure. And then
Yeah.
the patience piece and knowing. So one follow-up question, right? Was there anything you told yourself to help you persevere despite the no's or the perceived rejection?
I told myself this is one thing that I have committed myself to do, and I will not stop until I see it through.
Mhm.
So I had to mentally, psychologically, everything emotionally, just keep telling myself over and over, it will work. Someone will. Someone will. And I was just not willing to just give up that easily. Yeah.
So commitment is the key.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
great because I think commitment is like my word for 2021. I think that's my theme is to commit,
Yeah.
not like
Yes.
imitate.
Yeah.
Um, so now I would really be interested in any words or thoughts you have about colorism specifically. Anyone who might watch this, who's currently watching, or anyone who might watch this in the future, who might be working through colorism themselves, or learning about colorism, or trying to do their own healing and adjust their own attitudes with regards to colorism specifically.
Right.
3 words or thoughts you can give to them?
Well, I go to Marcus Garvey when I think of lessons learned in with colorism. And if I can just quote him, he said, "The black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness." And in being a part of the colorism community, it's taught me that the sun on our skin, that our skin has absorbed, and the gravity of our hair that our hair defies, makes us majestic beings. If we embrace our naturalness in all forms and features, we become proud of the skin and hair that we are, and the hair and who we are. So these are the things that colorism has taught me, even with the scars that came from the past. Who I am, I'm beautiful just that way. So that's the lesson I've learned from colorism and from my writing and from the healing process that I'm going through as well.
Yes, I love it. You know, my favorite, hearts. I love
Yeah.
hearts.
Yes, you do.
Um, so then the last thing that I have, if we don't have any other questions from our live audience, few though
I
they
guess I was boring.
not to me. I can always speak. I love conversation. This is an important one, right?
Okay.
Why should other people participate in the contest this year?
Well, you know, when you posted it on January 1st, I immediately went to my Facebook page and reposted it. I shared it on my page because of the importance I felt that other people should participate. Um, it's an educator resource, I call it, because it educates you on, and it educated me on so many things that I did not know about colorism. So I think that anyone that participates, they will learn from this process. You will learn something. So the first thing for me in telling others to do it is very educated for you. Um, when you participate, writers expect you expand your writing. Like I said, I love that outside of the box concept because that's what it allowed me to do. And when you think outside the box, you can actually grasp a wider concept of what you're trying to learn. So that's what the contest did for me. So that's why I really promote it for others. It motivates you and instill that sense of confidence in you because Black Cotton was the first piece that I'd ever had published. So that really, really, and as you can see, it propelled me into doing that book. So that was a big part of that for me as well. And then most importantly to me, you become a member of a network community of people that have similar stories to tell. And that's very, very worthwhile in itself. Like we talked earlier about the monetary, there are things that you can get in this life that money can't buy, and this is one of them. So that's why I would promote the contest.
Y'all know, like really easily I tear up very easily. I'm not tearing up, but I'm like, I'm getting there. But I think that is a beautiful testimony because I know not even being a participant, just like hosting it and managing it, I learn every year. Like I do like academic research on colorism, and this contest still teaches me stuff that the journal articles and the statistics and the data can't teach me.
Right.
For Colorism Healing in 2013, I did not expect people from other countries to be messaging me and saying, hey, can I participate, right? I really thought like, maybe a few Black girls will participate, but then now we have people like from India every year, people from Australia,
right.
In South Africa and like all over the world. And that was surprising to me. And it's so beautiful about is that vast variety of diversity, and yet all these people have something to say about colorism, right? As diverse skin tones are, as diverse as their hair textures are, as diverse as their languages and their ethnicities are, they all have a story to tell with regards to this issue of colorism. And I think that
Yes.
of voices is so powerful.
Yes.
We do
Yes.
have a few things in the chat. Diana
Okay.
says, your last answer was beautiful, Bobbi.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That makes me feel good. Thank you.
As a question, how do you feel
Okay.
about skin color being described in comparison to foods? Example, chocolate, caramel, cocoa, etc.
How do I feel about that? I how do I describe that? I think our skin is a unique commodity, and I do not feel like that it should be compared to anything else. I feel like it's unique in itself, and we shouldn't compare it to people saying you're chocolate caramel. I mean, some people feel it's okay. I just feel like that. No,
No, okay.
no,
I feel you. I hear
yeah,
I hear so many people say that they don't like being compared to food because it's like I'm not up for consumption, right? And I like that you
right,
commodity. I definitely
yeah,
think that it has been commoditized. You know, our features have been commoditized. People want to like be able to shop for our features and try them on and wear them out as a costume for a day or two, or
yeah,
let me get a taste of this or a sample of that, right?
yeah.
I was like, no, like these features come with a story, with a history, with.
Exactly. Yes, that is my thought. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
All right. If there are no other questions, I thank you, Bobbi, for being here. I thank everyone who has joined
yes.
us live, all the Patreon members. If you would like to participate live on the next Where Are They Now series, make sure you join us on Patreon. And Bobbi, tell people where they can follow your work. Are you on social media? Do you have like a website or anything like that?
I have a page within my with my publishing company. I will be branching out more once my book is in a stage where I feel like we're getting ready to. Well, they're actually releasing my book on my mother's birthday, which is dear
Oh,
to my heart. She passed away over 30 years ago. So the book will be released on March 12th. And building up to that, I will get back with you as far as a social outlet for it. But right now, I just have a page on Facebook. But I will be doing more.
mhm.
Yes, I will have a more of a social presence with the book once I get it to another point. Right now, just we just finalized the cover. So moving forward, I will be doing more things to get it out there.
Okay, that sounds good. And I can add links because this recording will be available on YouTube. So I can add
Okay.
the description and I can also share links on Facebook as well.
Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yes. And thank you for giving me this opportunity as well.
Absolutely. You are the perfect person to kick off the series.
Thank you. Thank you.